at mail.house.gov. This morning, I'd like to welcome our special guests and witnesses. We have the Honorable Robin Carnahan, who is the administrator of the GSA, and we have Ms. Nina Albert, who is the Commissioner for Public Building Services of the GSA. We look forward to hearing their testimony. You know, the GSA provides workspace for so many people who have been impacted by the pandemic and beyond that we're anxious to hear their testimony. In fact, it's 1.2 million federal employees across more than 50 federal agencies and over 1,500 federal buildings. Approximately 53% of the public buildings portfolio is over 50 years old, and 28% of it is over 75 years old. GSA leases about approximately 8,100 office buildings, courthouses, land, ports of entry, data processing centers, laboratories, and specialized spaces all across the country for our federal agencies' use and occupation. During the period from fiscal year 2019 through 2023, 60% of those leases will expire. The portfolio is projected to include 183.4 million square feet of owned space and 183.5 million square feet of lease space in FY 2021. With that kind of portfolio, you can see why we are interested in how the agency's doing, what it projects its needs will be, and what some of the problems are that we can help them to address. We also know that 25 leases are expiring between January 2022 and December 2025. And so with the new working conditions and post-COVID, we'd like to know what the plans are for those leases because we haven't seen any information about what's going to happen with them. In the past, this committee has addressed a number of issues that I hope our witnesses will at least provide some information today and then perhaps can bring back other information. But these are issues that have been important to me and to the other members of the committee. And if I could just list them briefly, you can see what our challenges are. We're always concerned about taxpayer dollars and that they're being used most efficiently and most effectively. So we need information on the lease versus build alternatives, as well as deferred maintenance for the buildings that we already have. We would want to know what the plans are now that the employment has shifted to so many people working at home and a need for less space. How do we need to rethink our inventory? Also, as we build buildings, we have several things that we want to consider. One is how to make them sustainable, how to make them healthy, how to make them perhaps fit some of the LEED standards so we know that they're energy efficient. We can't just build back better. We have to include resiliency considerations in the buildings that we construct in the future. Other issues related to that construction include making them bird friendly. Some of our buildings have reflecting glass that cause birds to crash into them. We want to see how we can address that. Also, parking and access to other modes of transportation that are available as we locate some of these buildings. And in addition to that, the design of the buildings themselves. We have been fighting an old executive order from the last administration that wanted all the buildings to look like the Parthenon. Well, this is not the federal design code. This is not the way they should be. They should fit with the geography. They should fit with the culture, and they should take into account input from local artistic community. We also want to talk about what happened with the hotel, the old post office that was leased by Donald Trump in the last administration. Now, I don't plan to relitigate everything that happened before. We want to move forward, but we do want to know how some of those things happen and how we can prevent making the same mistakes going forward. So that's kind of the agenda that we have. We're anxious to hear what your plans are, how we can be helpful. And I'll now turn it over to our ranking member, Mr. Webster, for a comment.